Hi, everybody. This is your host, Sophia Nelson, and welcome to the Be the One You Need podcast, where we talk about wellness and self care and putting you first. Let me reiterate what I said at the beginning of this month, and that is May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We shouldn't have to set aside a month for mental health awareness because mental health, like our physical health, like our spiritual health and our emotional health, is something that is with us 24/7. I'd like to take a moment as we leave May and head into summer and talk to you briefly about your mental health and well-being. First and foremost, regardless of where you sit politically or where you are on policy, I think each of us can agree on a simple premise. Life has been challenging over the last 6 months. We are halfway through 2025, if you can believe that. Halfway through, starting next month. And if you are a federal worker, it has been stressful. If you work at federal agencies in the states and around the country, it's been stressful. There have been cuts and cutbacks, programs ended, grants cut, research cut. Again, these aren't political issues. This is people's livelihood. These are people's jobs. These support communities and food programs for children and programs for seniors. We're in a difficult period in our country right now. And if you're watching me globally, I know that you're watching what we do here in America because we always lead. We are the example. We are the great shining city on a hill. For many of us, however, it hasn't felt that way lately. And I want to speak to that because I don't want to talk around or avoid politics or religion or things that are taboo, because those are the things that make us sick. We're only as sick as our secrets, my grandmother used to say. And boy, was she right. If you don't stop and pause and take stock of the energy around you, your job, your family, your friends, and the space that you inhabit all the time, you're missing something very important in how you deal with you and how you take care of you. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a regular person like you who has spent years on her own wellness and well-being journey, putting myself last way too many times and paying a price for it, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. I don't want that for you. Things have shifted in our country, and the good news is we can talk about these things now, and we know that it's okay not to be okay, and you can ask for help. There are resources in your community, in your city, in your church, in synagogues, in your mosque, all around you. There are ways to ask for help and get it. And I want to encourage you, as I encourage myself all the time, do not stuff it down. Do not shove it aside, because only you pay the price for not speaking your truth and getting the healing that you need. Times are difficult financially. Goods have gone up. The price of milk, the price of eggs, the price of gas. A home mortgage now costs you 7% or higher depending on your credit. When I was a young woman, I could buy my first home when I was just 30, 31 years old and only a few years out of law school. I was blessed. Many of you are getting out of college. You have enormous debt. You don't have a really good job, and you can't even afford to pay your student loans, and you have to live with your parent, much less think about getting married and starting a family or having your own home. These things add stress and strain because all of us is running this race of life, and we want to succeed, right? That's the beauty of living. We want to live. We want to live fully, and we want to have good things, and we want to be able to share good things. We want to give good things to our kids and to our loved ones. We want to be able to look after our parents as they age. But things are very tenuous right now, and people feel it. And what happens when people get stressed out? They get fearful. And what happens when people get fearful? They get mean. They start reacting. Any of you who are on social media, just like me, know that it's a difficult place to be. People are pretty nasty and say some pretty ugly things. Take time outs Watch silly movies. Moonstruck is my guilty pleasure. I watched Nona's. It was wonderful. Try it out on Netflix. Great movie about Italian grandmothers cooking food based on a true story about a man's dream to start a restaurant after his mother died and just to have Italian grandmothers cook good food like he grew up with. Listen, we have to take respite. We have to pause. We have to rest. We have to sleep. Someone told me, Sophia Nelson, you know what the secret to a good life is? You know what a secret to well-being is? And I was like, no, what? You know the secret? Do tell. And I was waiting for some type of, I don't know. But what I got was fascinating. 3 things. Sleep every night, good sleep. Touch at the hands of the people you love and trust, your kids, your family, your pets. Touch, human connection. And the 3rd thing was making sure that you eat properly. You have good nutrition. Now think of those things: sleep, good food, good relationships. Sleep, food, relationships. Nothing about becoming a millionaire. Nothing about working till I drop. Nothing about more things and less time with my family. Nothing about being connected to people who abuse you, misuse you, mistreat you, don't respect you, don't appreciate you. Nothing about putting yourself last so that you help everybody but you, as nobody takes care of you. Think about it. Good food, good sleep, good people. That's the secret to wellness. Now, I'm not being simplistic. I know that there are people with serious emotional problems that are chemically imbalanced and they need medication, and that's okay. I know that there are people who are dealing with trauma. I'm one of them. I had a very traumatic childhood and upbringing, and that stuff does not go away, period. It sticks. I've talked about this in my books. I've talked about it with all of you. I've watched my family repeat things over and over, generation after generation, and nobody seems to learn the very obvious lessons. And that is to do better, to be better, to make a better choice that doesn't have to be you. And that isn't who you're going to show up as. I was on the phone today with one of my aunts out in California, and one of my aunts that I'm close to. And I'm blessed with a lot of aunts. My mom has 5 sisters, and my father on his father's side had 6 sisters. Only Aunt Evelyn is still alive. Well, one of my other aunts is still alive, but she's got Alzheimer's and she's in a facility. So she doesn't remember and she can't communicate. But I've been blessed with this plethora of aunts, and they're all characters, and they're funny and they're fun. And I was talking with one of my favorites today, and we were talking about, she was sharing with me how she was really upset with one of her siblings and what had been done. And I listened and I said, listen, I want to validate what you're saying. You should be upset. That's upsetting. It's offensive. It's not okay. But let me tell you this, Aunt so-and-so, you are now in your 70s. You do not have time for that kind of foolishness, for that kind of stress, for that type of anger in your body, and that type of resentment and that blow. I've been there. And you know the decision I've made? I'm just done with folks. I'm not mad at you. I don't wish you any harm. I want you to be well. I want you to be happy. I want you to thrive. But you're not going to be around me. Period. And whatever I have to do to enforce those boundaries, once I've told you several times, and you still disrespect them, I'm going to do it. And I want to encourage those of you out there who understand exactly what I'm talking about to stop putting yourself last. Stop silencing your voice. Stop letting people pile on. Stop being mistreated. You know when it doesn't feel good. You know when you're being gaslit. You know when you're being lied to. You know when you're being manipulated. You know when you're being lied on. You know when they're playing the victim, when in point of fact, they're the aggressor. They're the problem. You know. It ain't you. It's them. As you do the work and you heal and you get better, you will get a lot of friction from people who refuse to do the work, who do not wish to heal, who like things the way they are, who like benefiting from you putting up with their foolishness and looking the other way. I'm here to tell you it's time for you to stop that. It's time for you to take your power back. Your mental health is your health, folks. If you're not well up here, And if you haven't dealt with your trauma and your pain and your hurts, and you aren't with safe people that you can talk about things with without there being a fight, if you can't express how you feel or have a conversation without a threat, a fight, or you're being gaslit, or well, that didn't happen, or you're mean, or whatever they say to you to keep you quiet, that's not a healthy relationship for you. I want to encourage you as we go into summer, which is when we kind of chill back and we kind of relax. And if we're blessed, we can see a little water, and we can travel a little, we can kind of get some respite. But you're going to respite in your life every day just by making simple, consistent choices about who you're going to be around and who you're not going to be around, and what you're not going to let people force you to do that you know is not good for you. If you know going to that family reunion is not good for you, do not go. Send your grandmother some flowers if she's still alive. Send your regrets with love and kindness, but stay away. If you know that there are certain members of your family, just like at your job and in other places, that are just not good for your well-being, do not apologize. Do not force yourself, and do not allow yourself to be forced upon. Just because Aunt so-and-so loves seeing her son doesn't mean he gets to come to your house when she invites him there when you don't like seeing your cousin, her son. Do you follow my logic? You do not have to do the things that aren't good for you to make others feel happy, to make others feel whole. That's not your job. Your job is you and being the one that you need. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but I want to encourage you to have mental health awareness in June, July, August, September, October, November, all the way through December and the end of the year into a new year. Because you have to guard your mental health the same way I hope you're guarding your physical health and your spiritual health. Because let me tell you what, and I'll close with this. When you don't take care of you, when you don't ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? And how am I feeling? Guess what happens? Your body gets sick. And what happens when your body gets sick? You get depressed and you get down, or vice versa. When you're not taking care of you, you get emotionally unwell. You get depressed, and then you get physically sick. You're more subject to colds, to the flu, and to other serious ailments. When there's unresolved hurt, pain, and trauma, or grieving, if you're grieving, you gotta work through it. You gotta talk through it. You don't get through anything in this life avoiding it and not taking it head on and not dealing with it. That's not healthy. It will kill you, and it will kill your relationships. There's a way to confront things, and it starts with you asking, what do I want? What do I need? And how am I feeling? And then answer those questions, and then lean into the things that bring you joy. I bought a new guitar. It's coming in a couple weeks. And I can't wait to get back into playing chords again and learning again. I'm a drummer by nature. I wanted to be Sheila E. Yes, I confess I did. Sheila E. was way cool when I was coming up. But beating on the drums isn't what I need at this stage of my life. I could still play, but I love the guitar, and I love my acoustic guitar, and I'd like to learn Spanish guitar, and I'd like to learn how to play the mandolin, and I love to dance. I'm going to do a lot more dancing second half of this year and into next year. You got to focus on those things that bring you joy. Remember, good sleep, good food, good people. Elixir for living. Listen, I wanted to just remind you that you matter, that you're worthy, that you have value. Make sure you check out my column in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution this week about the Diddy trial. The Diddy trial has been very upsetting to me and tens of millions of women, and I hope men all over the world. I didn't know that our young women felt so valueless, that they allowed themselves to be treated like this and felt so powerless, especially in our time, the 21st century, where women are vice president of the United States and run for president. We have work to do, and it starts with value and knowing it and knowing your worth and knowing that you deserve joy. You deserve peace. You deserve love. Go where the love is. You deserve to wander and to wonder, to explore, to be the one you need for the life you want. You don't know anybody your life, not your mama, not your daddy, not your siblings, not anybody, not your kids, not your spouse. You don't owe anybody your well-being, your happiness, your joy. That's something God gave you. And that's something you should treasure. It's precious. I love you guys, and happy Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. If you're drinking, don't drive. If you're out, call an Uber. Be safe. Have a good time, but be safe. All right now. Bye-bye. God bless you until we meet again.